Abby, where are we going?
Okay, first one. Will the loss of Nash and Tai be too big for the defensive line to take the next step forward next year?
I don't. That's a great question, and it's a legit question. Ty Robinson, I think we've established is going to be selected in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. Almost, he's a lock. It seems like he was a monster towards the end of the season, the latter half of the season. Really hard to replace that size and athleticism. Same with Nash to a slightly lesser extent. Well, Nash isn't a surefire draft pick, probably late round, Sean.
Yeah, I would say like 5 to 7 round. I mean, he's a premium position in that sense.
Yes, and he's athletic. He's a big athletic guy, Abby. Now, I like this young talent they have. I like Keona Davis and Cam Lenhart and Van Poppel. I like the look at I like the looks of those guys. They have to get better though. Judy's in that conversation too. I think Jalen George might be a year away. Lenhart's good, has to get better. Van Poppel's he's good, has to get better. Davis is good, has to get better. But those are all guys that are pretty capable, I think. They're all athletic, big men.
Yeah, when you lose 5th and 6th year players, you don't just replace them overnight. But I think today they have enough. I think the key is depth. You don't want to have to over rely on a player. You want to have depth.
Here's the thing, Sean and Abby. Think about it. I mean, I have to catch myself. How can I expect Riley Van Poppel and Keona Davis to match the production of Ty Robbins? How can I expect it? Ty Robbins was a 6th-year player. I mean, he wasn't what we saw 2 years ago. What we saw this year, he wasn't even close to that 2 years ago. So why would I expect these other guys to be even close to that? He wasn't, Sean, I would argue he wasn't close to what he was this year, last year.
You got flashes of him, but never the full picture.
Right.
All right, next question.
Okay, will Deshaun Singleton and Javen Wright be back in 2025? We've had a lot of questions about these guys.
No, Deshaun Singleton is playing in the draft all-star games. And, he could play that JUCO, get the year back game, but that's not in the picture.
No.
And Javen Wright has played 6 years at Nebraska. So, I guess he could get a medical extra year, but he's already got the COVID year on top of the 5 years. So I have not heard of anything about him coming back.
Nothing. I've not heard that at all.
I know there's been just speculation that it's a thought, but nothing that would lead me to believe they're going to do that. I mean, I think they've turned the page there. I think they're ready to go with some of the guys they're bringing in.
I think so, but now I would say though it'd be a welcome development.
It would be, yeah. I
haven't heard it.
And here's the thing: we'll know fairly quickly because classes begin January 21. So we're about 2 weeks away from a lot more roster things happening. All right, next question.
Okay. What position group will take the biggest hit in order to get down to the 105 roster limit?
Probably the defensive backfield, the secondary.
Okay.
Because right now,
28.
They're at 29. But they're going to be we know of another one coming. They're going to be at 30.
Yeah.
30.
So, that's a big number. It's a big room.
30 defensive backs. Put it in perspective. That's more basketball players than Fred Hoiberg and Amy Williams have combined.
Yeah, you need an auditorium for their position meeting. That's a big room, right?
And now Evan Cooper used to say, it's like we play 5 though. So like 5 of the 11 in the defense are DBs.
Right.
Proportionality. So when you break it down like that, it makes more sense because essentially like you have that hybrid player in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the secondary is where I look to see some trimming.
God, and when you look at that group of guys, there's a lot of guys that are pretty good and pretty even.
What I don't really, they just went so crazy with the numbers in the redshirt freshman class. I mean, the number of players in that group.
Yeah, if you just look at the chart.
And every one of them redshirted.
Yeah.
So it's like a full basketball team of DBs.
Yep.
In one class. So, yeah, I think it will be interesting how that all shakes itself out with the 105. Next question.
Okay. Which incoming freshmen have the best chance at making an immediate impact?
Well,
Jamarian Parker.
I think Cortez Mills.
Yeah.
Has to be the top of my list.
And what about Dawson Merritt?
Coming off shoulder surgery, but yeah, you would think, and I think one of those defensive linemen between Malcolm Simpson, Cade Pedshock, and Tyson Terry.
Okay.
Because Tyson Terry is older. I mean,
we always leave out Jeremiah Jones.
Well, Jeremiah Jones is a receiver.
And so is Cortez Mills.
And so you just wonder where he factors in with the guys they have.
They have a lot. That's the thing. I get it, Sean. I get it. They do. They have a lot. But they're going to play 8 or 9, right?
Well, usually you only play 6 or 7.
Okay, 6 or 7.
It's hard to play 8 or 9 receivers in a 60-snap football game.
You're right. Hard to crack that. You know what the answer is, Abby? Cortez Mills. That's the answer.
I think he's the safest bet of all the guys. I think Dawson Merritt would put himself up there, and I think one D lineman could play more than 4 games.
Matt Rule, when I think he was asked that question. Pretty much asked that question. Dawson Merritt. He mentioned Dawson Merritt. Did he mention a DB too? No. He just mentioned Merritt, and he mentioned he mentioned 2. He mentioned the receiver Cortez Mills and Dawson Merritt. That's who he mentioned.
Jamarian Parker's going to have an opportunity.
That's why I said Jamarian, because I think that position's a little light right now. A little light, just a little light. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. I thought they would go get a running back.
I still don't. I mean, we've had this debate, but a lot already. But I don't understand why Dowdell left. I really don't.
Well, let's have it. Is it just a pure money?
Think
you do know, because Rule addressed it. Rule made it. I thought Matt made it sound like it was pretty much a money decision. That he didn't even necessarily want to leave, but I bet Kentucky gave him quite a number. That's my read on it. Isn't that your read?
Yeah, I mean the money is what's driving college football right now, and that's what drove that, is what it felt like. But all right, final question, or do we have 2 final questions?
Yeah, I got 2 quick ones today. So the playoffs are starting for, I guess, college football, but also for the NFL. So who is your pick to play in the Super Bowl?
Not very sexy.
Sean's not biased at all.
But the Chiefs Lions have the home field advantage, the bye. I think you have to go Chiefs Lions right now, and the Chiefs are so skilled in January. I mean, they're built for this, and they're going to avoid Baltimore and Buffalo in the first game back. So they'll play like Houston or San Diego or someone like that to go to the AFC title game. So they have a great path.
You're right. I wish I could push back a little harder. And listen, I'm not the authority on the NFL. I pick up bits and pieces. Allen had an incredible year at Buffalo. A little hard to pick against, I think, except I know what you're going to say. How do you pick against Mahomes?
In Arrowhead.
Right. And what was the Chiefs' record before they threw the last game?
15-1.
15-1. Then they threw the last game, didn't play their guys. Going 15-1. Now people say, yeah, but Sip, the games were close. I don't care. Going 15-1 in the NFL? Are you serious? I don't care how they win the games. That's an incredible record.
And it's like, I thought the feat of beating Pittsburgh and Houston on like short weeks back to back.
Oh, yeah. They just know how to win.
That clinched it. I mean, that took out Buffalo. Buffalo thought they could get the Chiefs and get the home field, but then the Chiefs go and beat Pittsburgh and Houston, 2 divisional winning type teams back to back. I mean, that was pretty impressive.
Really impressive what Detroit's done, because they've had to overcome a lot of injury. I'm not convinced that they're 15-2, but I think you could make a strong argument for Philly or Minnesota.
How great's Dan Campbell, though?
Oh, he's unbelievable. I mean, what he's done with that franchise. Sean, I grew up at a time where the Lions were a complete afterthought. Just a complete afterthought.
Just that city in general, though. I can't imagine how great it is to be in Detroit when they've had such bad football for all those years.
Yeah, it must be magical.
To the point now on Thanksgiving, their game is better than the Cowboys game.
Right.
It used to always kind of be the Lions game's first.
Mm-hmm.
But now the Lions game's the draw.
There you go, Abby. How about some NFL talk?
We got one more?
Okay, one more. What is your favorite breakfast food?
I have a problem. I mean, in this world, you can eat way too much cereal. It's a fallback that, I mean, I eat grape nuts. But it's still not even great to eat too much cereal. I eat way too much cereal. Way too much.
I keep it simple. I like eggs.
That's a good idea. You can eat all the eggs you want.
Like And I'm a over hard eggs person.
It's fine.
I like to break the yolk, flip it.
My dietary advice, I wouldn't follow if I was anybody, but I've read on TikTok, you can have all the eggs and all the salt you want. That it's a myth that you can't.
And I mean, you can't beat bacon.
That bacon we had at
Peter
Luger.
Luger. It was like a steak.
I don't even know how to describe that bacon. It was sinful.
It was like a 5-ounce piece of bacon.
Yeah, it was fat. It was unbelievable.
It was thick, long, and I just thought one would do it to split. So the waiter gave me a hard time. He's like, "You just
gonna have one?
Just gonna have one." So it was $8 a slice of bacon.
Worth it.
Well worth it. Abby, what's your breakfast?
Yeah, what is your breakfast?
I love breakfast foods. Obviously bacon, but I love like waffles. I love cereal, but I don't eat it that much.
God, I'm with
cereal.
you. I'm with you. Breakfast is the best.
I love breakfast
because all of everything we talked about is awesome.
Right, and there's like French toast.
I get the hives
pancakes.
when I go to a hotel and there's a breakfast buffet. I'm just so
you get the hives.
Overcome.
Well, sometimes we get lucky and we'll stay at a Marriott or somewhere that comes with like an elite breakfast, and you just don't know what to do.
No, I have to stop myself, Abby, and say, take it easy. Take it easy.
Pastry bar.
Yeah, take it easy. Don't ruin your day here.
Yeah, donuts. Come on, they're such great breakfast.
Take
foods.
it easy.
Hey, or you just go big on breakfast and don't eat the rest of the day.
Yeah, you can kind of mess up your morning though.